Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 18th of August. It is Monday. We do have an 8-game main slate ahead of us this evening. We do have one game to worry about. Timing of rain. It's raining a lot here in Wisconsin. Definitely some rain in Illinois. I think the first game of that doubleheader is going to be fine, but it's this game that is on the main slate this evening that has a lot of question marks around it. Probably forcing us to avoid Jameson Tyon probably was going to be avoided anyways. Chad Patrick, a guy that we used a couple times earlier in the season, certainly capable of nice things, but probably just going to have to fade him at least until we know more about timing. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now that all that is said and done, let's just jump right into the pitching options on this slate. We have Baltimore, Boston, Trevor Rogers, Dustin May. May coming off of a phenomenal start against Houston. Arguably his best start of the season. He had more fantasy points against the White Sox with the Dodgers. But allowing a home run, a couple runs, I think last start was a stronger start than that one. Now he gets a Baltimore squad that's running out a lineup that is tough to pick out of a lineup. Bottom half of that lineup is kind of weakened. Some names you haven't heard of. Some names I've heard of, but man, it's tough. I want to believe that Baltimore can beat him up a little bit, but it's hard to trust their lineup. And him showing that he has 30 fantasy point upside with Boston is pretty nice to see. I am going to have to use some Dustin May at 6,900. Feels dirty, but I think he has what it takes. Boston is a minus 125 favorite, so he's a slight favorite against Trevor Rogers, who's been pitching phenomenally. 21 plus fantasy points in 4 straight, 6 of 7, and 7 of 9. Hasn't given up more than 2 runs since middle of June. We're looking at 2 months now. And that start was the only start this season he's given up more than 2 runs, and it was just 3. So his numbers are just phenomenal. Strong against Boston the first time he faced them. I like left-handed pitching against Boston a decent amount, just because it does kind of weaken their lineup a little bit. Duran, Roman Anthony, Yoshida probably won't even be in the lineup. Abreu. A strong group of left-handed bats could either be on the bench or just in the wrong side of the platoon. He is on the road, but his road numbers have been pretty strong anyways. It's just his home numbers have been absolutely elite. So both pitchers certainly in play in that game. White Sox, Braves. Andreas Gomez against Detroit looked phenomenal. Detroit does offer K upside in the matchup, so shouldn't be overly surprising, I don't think. A little surprised at the 89 pitches. I'm not sure how lengthened out he got in the minors. He's a guy I didn't really look up or look into prior to this game. I am going to be spending some time digging into Andreas Gomez a little bit here. Obviously, we know the Atlanta lineup can struggle. Atlanta's a pretty strong minus 200 favorite. It's definitely not somebody that I'd want to go super overweight on, but based on that last performance, I do think he's viable. Curious case of Spencer Strider. ERA closer to 5 than 4 at this point. Whip, mid 1.3s. This isn't the same guy. Obviously, coming back from Tommy John, plus changing your arm angle, can cause some issues. He hasn't looked good, that's for sure. Just 11 strikeouts over his last 3 starts. Giving up 5 home runs over those last 3 starts. Just a lot of negatives. Each start over his last 4 has trended down. With that said, I'm still going to utilize him. He still offers the big-time upside. He dominated the Yankees, dominated the Athletics prior to that, with an 11K performance. Has crushed the Mets, did so in back-to-back starts. 13 strikeouts against Colorado. He's still in there. It's just not consistent, and it's not something that we can just rely on. With that said, I will be utilizing him just because he does have the ceiling we need for some large field GPP action. Texas, Kansas City. I think Jack Leiter's viable, but I just don't love it. Obviously, there's not a lot of K upside in this matchup. The Royals spanked him the first time he faced them, 3 home runs. He has just given up 3 home runs over his last 10 starts. Home runs just aren't the issue. Walks are, and what could be lack of strikeouts at times, especially in this matchup. I just don't think I can get there. Unfortunately, I'm relying on him in some dynasty leagues that are in some important matchups. So I guess I can hedge myself, but just don't really like the spot for him. Just walks too many guys, doesn't strike out enough. Not the best matchup. Walk on the other side. Doesn't strike out that many either. Does a good job of limiting damage, so he can get to some upside. Went for 23 fantasy points against this Texas squad earlier. He's in play. He just, at the beginning of August, just dominated a red-hot Toronto lineup, going 8 innings. Only struck out 5, but that's all right. His pitch counts are all over the place, and that's worrisome. 74 up to 100. A lot of the 70s and 80s, but then he'll just randomly get 90s, I think it's a viable matchup. Ballpark's good for pitching. I think Walker is probably the better play in that spot. He's probably a little safer than even Spencer Strider, which is weird to say. We talked about Milwaukee, Chicago to start. Just going to have to pass on pitching until we hear about the weather a little bit more. Dodgers, Rockies. Freeland coming off of what I would guess. I would have guessed it was his best start of the year, but it's his 3rd best start of the season. His numbers at home have been atrocious. Just no reason to go to him in this spot. If Kyle Freeland wins somebody the slate, so be it. I will call that pure luck. Yamamoto, coming off of a rough start. Had 4 great starts before that, which came after a rough start against Milwaukee. So he kind of does have these trends, rough starts and bounce back. This would be a bounce back spot. I'm not sure what he's done in his career in Colorado. One start here, absolutely dominant. 6 strikeouts in 5 innings, just 1 hit allowed. I'm definitely playing Yamamoto. I'm not overly concerned about the in-course thing. The Dodgers are minus 300 favorites. I do worry a little bit about a hangover for the Dodgers after a big sweep of the Padres. Going on the road against a team like Colorado, I could see a little bit of a hangover. But with that said, I am all about Yamamoto, even in Coors. Cincy and the Angels. Cincinnati, minus 115 favorite. Brady Singer, guy's been all over the place. 27 plus fantasy points in 3 out of his last 4 starts. Recent trends are really strong. The Angels, obviously, among the worst in baseball in terms of strikeouts. Let's refresh it. The absolute worst in baseball. Averaging 12 per game over the last 3. Overall, definitely the worst. So Singer does get a K boost. He has struggled on the road this season, which I don't like to see. With that said, it's a far better ballpark to pitch in than his home park is. Medeiros, just not somebody I'm interested in at all. I think he's been mostly a reliever in the minors. At least up until this year. I'd have to look and see if maybe they're lengthening him out. 72 pitches last time out, but he should obviously throw in the 80s is my guess. Excuse me, but I'm just not interested there. Cleveland, Arizona. Somebody I'm definitely interested in, Gavin Williams. Been showing some big-time upside of late. And a lot of that upside has come from some pretty strong matchups where he can dominate left-handed bats. He's a pretty extreme reverse splits pitcher. Did struggle his last time out against Miami, which I guess we kind of probably could have predicted, considering he threw 126 pitches the start before that in an attempt for a no-hitter. So 75 pitches. He had 2 extra days of rest, but now he comes in on normal rest. We obviously could see some hangover yet. We see some guys that just don't get right for a few starts after something like this, where they jump their highest by, 20 pitches or so. With that said, I just like the matchup, and I would assume that Arizona's pretty left-hand heavy. Carroll, Perdomo, Ketel Marte, Alec Thomas, Jake McCarthy, trying to think off the top of my head, Adrian Del Castillo, if he's in the lineup. Just super left-hand heavy. Barossa, if he's in the lineup, I see he's on the roster. There's potential for him to just have 3 right-handed bats, which plays into his ability because he's so dominant against lefties. Zach Gallen on the other side, he's all over the place. I don't know what to do with him. I'm going to kind of dig in a little bit more. Traditionally, he's been dominant at home. He's just allowing a ton of home runs, a ton of walks as well, which can be a huge issue. I don't think the matchup's terribly difficult, and he is a minus 115 favorite, but still, I'm not sure that I really want to rely on Zach Gallen this evening. Last game on the slate, Robbie Ray, Nestor Cortez. I like Robbie Ray. It's not the best of matchups, but the Padres just struggled against the Dodgers for a 3-game stretch. We kind of could see a little bit of a lull here. With that said, obviously Ray is volatile. Been over 100 pitches in 4 straight starts. Just being allowed to throw a lot of pitches, which is nice, which is what we want out of our starting pitcher. He had 1 really great start against San Diego, 1 not so good start against San Diego so far this season. Just definitely somebody we want to use because the upside is there. I don't think we have ownership. Oh, we do. Yeah, you tell me I can get him at sub 10%. I can, play him 15 to 20%. Not be super overexposed, but still be double the field. I'm definitely interested. Seeing Spencer Strider at 46% scares the shit out of me. But so be it. Nestor Cortez, we just saw his ownership through the roof. I really hope that refreshes and goes down, because if Nestor Cortez is that chalk on this slate, I don't know what to do. He did pitch pretty well against this San Francisco squad, but he's been 76 and 79 pitches in his 2 starts back. He's viable for sure. This ballpark is obviously good for pitching, but man, if he's that high owned, I have to go underweight. But we'll see as the day progresses. Anyways, that is it for today's video. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I will drop a link to our merch store down below. You can check out my hoodie. My daughter has worn it basically 3 out of the last 4 days. She absolutely loves it. So that's a testament. I don't think it's just because my name's on the front. It's because it's super comfortable. But anyways, as always, best of luck, everybody.